Hello, I'm Simulator Dirk and welcome back to Trainz. And it feels like I've gone back in time because in a way I have. This is Donnybrook, the original Donnybrook map before I started doing heaps of changes. This episode's going to be in two halves. We're going to explore what the Donnybrook map looks like originally and then what I've changed it to, which is a real work in progress. So we are here at Donnybrook. There is a 5 car. No, I've made it into a 6 car Explorer, the Northern Tablelands Explorer. And that's basically the way that I've set it up. So we're going to leave Donnybrook. We're going to head north on both the original Donnybrook and my modified Donnybrook. Let's get straight into it. Now. And we are going to tell the driver, basically. Now, who is our driver today? Our driver today is Donald. I'm going to give him some instructions. And the instruction that I'm going to give him there we go. We are going to navigate to... Now, a lot of these stations, I've actually changed the name of them. Canamar Platform 2. And we are off and running. And the Explorer has left the station, has left Donnybrook. This is the original unaltered map. I've done nothing to it. That's basically how I started this series. We're just in line side mode when it comes to the cameras. We're taking our Northern Tablelands Explorer. So across the river. Now, I could have worked this out. But I think that for every hour of recording, I've probably spent 30 hours doing modifications. So this is a CountryLink era livery of the Explorer, basically how they the livery in which they were delivered in. Now, one thing that you will notice on this map, on this section, is that there's one track. We'll get into sections later with lots of elevation. You'll notice here that there's a lot of ballast. That's the track's not laid directly onto the ground. There's a huge pile of ballast as we prepare to cross over another river. And an old wooden viaduct. So that's one thing that's really good about this map, is that there's for the small map that it is, I think it's basically supposed to be 20 kilometers from north to south. There's a lot of variety in the scenery and whatnot. There's been a good effort in terms of... I might adjust that. That's the chase camera. Pardon me. So the chase camera operates when there's no line side camera. We can see the amount of ballast and the amount of elevation that there is here. Wooden sleepers, single track, lots of there's not many stations. Lots of farmland, so this train fits in really well. There are some industries about. The signalling is primarily single light colour light in New South Wales on this map. There is some semaphore signalling originally on the map around the Halley River area. There are level crossings. Can I go back to... It'll probably switch me back to line side when there's a line side camera to look at. Lots of, as I said, lots of farmland, lots of bush shacks, sheds, farmland, that sort of thing. We haven't really seen any loops yet, so a lot of it single track. There is a double track section towards the end of our trip today, but we'll have a look at that when we get a bit closer to it. Lots of uncontrolled level crossings, or what they call passive level crossings. They're the ones that have just got a sign rather than the flashing lights and or boom gates, which is called an active level crossing. And that's fairly typical of what is out there beyond the metropolises. Speed at the moment is low, 40 kilometres an hour. I hate to think about the amount of work that went into this map, how long it actually took. So the speed limit's just gone up to 65, and the trains reached there pretty quickly. So there's long periods in this section without any trackside cameras. There's another passive level crossing. I did learn a cool trick. I haven't tried it yet as we go over another creek or a river. Probably more a creek. There is a trick that I saw in another YouTube video today, which is basically a camera on invisible rails that can basically provide a tracking shot. Like they have at some sporting events, where the camera is mounted to rails and it just goes up and down the track with the camera gear mounted. So if we were to do that here, we'd have an invisible track along the track, running basically parallel to the track. That's more of a panning shot. And so it provides a different type of shot. I saw it on YouTube. It looked like it worked pretty well. I haven't tried it myself yet. That's the thing I'll be having a look at after this episode. Track speed now 80 as we cross over another wooden viaduct. So we're coming up to Lambley. So I have not done anything basically to this map except place some trains on there. That's all I've basically done at this point. I don't think I even made the modifications around Halley River. I think that's on a different save. But this train does, I think it's an older model. I have noticed that a lot of the effort that goes into locomotives and freight wagons and that sort of stuff for New South Wales stock, I haven't really looked at like Victoria or anywhere like that in Australia so far. I've mainly looked at stuff that would operate in New South Wales. Especially lately, there's a big emphasis on freight locos and the like, but not a lot when it comes down to passenger rolling stock, such as the Xplorer that we can see on the screen, XPT, the Endeavours and Hunter cars. This is Lambley. I've just got the train running through non-stop as we cross another river. Now, when we go to the next part of this episode, I'll detail what I've actually done in terms of production and also recording. Just to sort of see my recording to the difference between how much I've recorded and how much time I've actually spent in total. We'll give you some idea as we start to climb out of Lambley. Now we've moved into a double track section. And so once we finish this, I'll be more than happy to show you the work in progress at the moment and what I've done so far and what I've got planned and how different it looks basically on the same map. But I have to say, this Explorer looks pretty good going through here. Introduced about 94, 95. They're now well established on the Northern Tablelands Explorer out between Sydney and Armidale and Moree. Also the Sydney to Canberra services and the once weekly services to Griffith and Broken Hill. And the occasional substitution for the Central West XPT. So they're designed as a diesel multiple unit with engines under every carriage. And so you don't, unlike the XPTs where you've got a power car at either end and there's basically two carriage lengths of locomotive, if you want to call it that. There's no passenger space that is lost to engines, etc., and they're all underneath the floor. Each carriage has two engines, one traction and one auxiliary. and they're capable, where the track allows, of doing up to 145 kilometres an hour. They're fairly similar mechanically to the Endeavours. The Endeavours obviously don't have a buffet car. The interior is different, but mechanically they're pretty similar. There was actually a conversion of a couple of cars from Xplorer spec to Endeavour spec, if I remember that correctly. Or was it the other way around? But it was more a case of making the changes to the passenger compartment, because they're fairly similar. They're basically mechanically identical, with the exception of, as I said, Endeavours, which are the inner city version, don't have buffet cars, so they run around in 2-car sets, whereas they can run around in 2, 3 or 4-car sets primarily. And in this example here that we're showing, the Northern Tablelands Explorer, we've got the front 4 carriages that will divide at Werris Creek. Now here comes the tunnel. Now, there's no camera in the tunnel, so we'll have to wait just for the train to come out, which it has. So the front 4, in this case, or front 3 normally, the 4th car's added when there's extra demand. Recently, Armidale Airport had an unexpected closure, so they did actually add a 4th carriage to the Armidale portion. So the train runs as it is shown here on screen, with 2 distinct sections, the front 4 carriages being the Armidale section and the back 2 being the Moree section. The 2 trains divide at Werris Creek in the afternoon. The front 4 cars go to Armidale and the back 2 go to Moree. And then the next morning, the 4 cars start from Armidale, the 2 start from Moree. They join together at Werris Creek. The Moree portion's on the front, the Armidale's on the back, and it runs as the combined unit between Werris Creek and Sydney and back. There have been times where the 2 halves haven't met up for whatever reason, primarily in the Sydney-bound direction, and so they can go as 2 separate trains. I think we're coming into Halley Creek. There's the fire trucks. I did replace the fire trucks to something a little bit more Australian. How did we get onto that view? So we're coming into a 40 zone. Oh, sorry, we're in a 40 zone. Oh no, it's still semaphore. So this is before my upgrade. So one platform at Halley Creek, the platform is the loop line. The platform coming up now on the left of screen. So there's the platform. The train will just go straight through as it's not timetable to stop there. Now we go over Halley River. Over this long bridge. So this would be the main reason for the 40-kilometre speed restriction. Well, sorry, the reduction in speed. That would be the permanent speed over that river bridge. Now, I've got to say, if it wasn't for this map, I wouldn't have necessarily done any modifications. Because starting a map from scratch and getting it up to this standard is hard. There's been a lot of trial and error for me to get to the point that you'll see at the second half of this episode. We've also gone back into the single track section. Lots of farmland, so we've really only seen the station at Halley Creek so far. So we're back into the A65 zone. Lots of ballast there used to flatten out the line somewhat. There's quite a lot of elevation changes with the train in like a dip of a valley with embankments on either side. You will notice big changes when I show you my arrangement. Well, that's a great looking shot. Needless to say, if I didn't have this sort of results with this this title this time, I wouldn't be nowhere near as far as I am into this series. I've basically spent a lot of January and February pre-recording episodes for this series that will go on for quite some time. And this is actually, and the changes that you'll see in the second half of the episode is part of the reason why this episode and others before and after it actually feature on two separate playlists on Simulator. It's a train simulator, so it features on the train simulator playlist I Choose You. And it also features on Workshop Wednesday because there's a lot of building, there's a lot of map creation, world building that I'm doing. I'm not recording all of the world building, but every now and again I'll make an episode and I'll show you how it's progressing, and also what I've got in mind, some of the things that I've learnt, and I have learnt a lot. It basically seems to be standard these days to, if there's anything that you want to know, just pull up YouTube and try search a video. Make sure that the video is fairly recent, so you're working, if you can, with the version that I'm using. I'm using Trainz 2022. The premium edition. I don't want to be looking at Trainz 2012 because there's a lot of changes. I have 99.9% of the time been in the more modern surveyor mode when I've been doing my world building, rather than the classic. Sometimes with the classic, I'm just trying to see if there's an easier way to do things, but because I haven't used Trainz before, oh yep, that's the station with the doggy, and you'll be pleased to know that I haven't got rid of the doggy off the platform, so the doggy will still be there. Every man and his dog have come out to see that train, and every man and his dog will still be there to see that train. That from memory was Northcliffe. I've now called that Greta. My stations, I'm naming after short platforms on the Newcastle Central Coast and Hunter lines. Not necessarily in order, as we'll see. But if there's some characteristics, like there is one seaside station or one riverside station that I've called Wonderbine because I can. And a station just up from that I've called Tascott because Tascott's also beside the water. It's a little bit more water distance than Wonderbine is, but not by much. But what I have tried to do, even though I have made changes, as much as I can, I've tried to keep the Australian look and feel. A lot of the surrounding areas are sort of a work in progress. I'm mainly focused on the rail corridor at this stage. So things like this oval, for instance, I haven't changed at the moment, and realistically, I probably won't. One of the things that I'm basically trying to do with this map is bring it into more of a modern era, bring it into the concrete sleeper era, even though I think it was the late 70s, early 80s, really, when Sydney started re-sleeping their tracks with concrete sleepers. There's a lot of frames around the place. So I have tried to keep the New South Wales look and feel to it. There will be a lot more camera options. So I'm still here. So back into a another single track section. While my work is a work in progress, I'm quite happy with how I've learnt. And things that I've got in mind. My landscaping skills will probably get a lot better as I finish the rail corridor off to my satisfaction. So we're reducing speed. We may be coming up to our destination. But it's taken pretty much 30 minutes to get from end to end. Which is quite cool. So here we are. One thing I do like about this scenery, which I hope to possibly replicate once I finish the rail corridor, is I do like the surroundings of all the mountains and everything. Now, I don't know who the developer of this map is. I don't know how they went about it or their process, their thinking, etc. But I will detail what I've done to get to my point when we get on to the environment that I've created. So we're in a 25 zone now, which is rather slow. Oh, we might be waiting for another train, are we? Ah, there we go. We got the turnout to go across. So that would explain the 25 kilometre an hour limit. Ah, now we've gone on to a 20. Ah, now we can get up to speed. We're back to 90. That was quick. So back onto a double track section. Now we are stopping at Carnamar, which is basically as far as I've got in my updates, which will basically give you a like-for-like comparison. One good thing about the internet and what I've learned since is that should I choose to, I could just basically replace this concrete track, this track rather easily with concrete sleeper track and just not make as many changes as I have. But the majority of my changes have been about increasing the capacity of my network as we're coming into the station. Now on the map, I think that shows us railcar sightings, but there's all locos, etc. in there. As we're coming now into the station. And we have arrived. So let's go into our camera view and let's have a look around where we are so I can show you how it looks now. So mainly there's a whole heap of businesses, etc. on this side. And the river in the background. And on the other side, this platform basically reminds me of Moss Vale. There's a ramp that goes up to a bridge over there. The main station, I'll go up to here a bit further. The main platform and the main station building, which I've kept, but I've got it using a different arrangement at the moment. Although I do like this arrangement. And on the other side, there are some smaller buildings, but not a lot. There is one thing that I want to check before I go, and that's the container terminal. The Donnybrook container terminal. Let's go there. And I want to see the name. The name of this, the actual file name for this terminal. If I can do that, might have to go into surveyor mode to do that. All I want to do is find the name of multiple industry new. Okay, so sometimes if you want to find something, So multiple, if I can spell, multiple, can't even spell again. Multiple industry new, multiple industry basic. So if I add those to my pick list, because I am actually trying to work smarter here, and assets that I find, keep them together. Multiple junction alignment as well. I'll do that. Alright, so I'll end this part of the episode here, and I'll come back when I've loaded my map, and we'll go from there back in a moment. Okie dokie, we are back at Donnybrook, and there have been massive changes. I just worked it out. I have been active on Steam with Trainz for 517 hours at this point at the time of recording. And at the time of recording, not including this episode, I have recorded 77 hours of content. So that gives you some idea of how much time that I've spent on content versus world creation. So let's have a quick look around Donnybrook before we take off. The station I basically haven't changed. Got the same Explorer from last time. May have to extend, and I probably will extend the platform. Over here, I've taken out the container terminal and a few of the other buildings because I'm going to relocate them. There was a mixture of heritage buildings that I have placed all together. I haven't connected any track to them yet. There's two roundhouses, one which will be for preserve steam, and the other which will be for preserve diesel. We have used this roundhouse on a couple of episodes before. Eventually all the modern locos will be moving out of there, and they'll be going to other depots around the network. A lot of the yards been rationalised at this stage. At this stage, there's only the northbound track between here and Canamar, which I've renamed Hexham. As I did mention earlier, I'm renaming stations basically so I can remember them, and I'm calling them after short platforms on the Newcastle Central Coast and Hunter lines here in New South Wales that I'm very familiar with. I haven't done a lot to the actual central business district of Donnybrook, that I've left the name alone because it is the name of the map. But I've moved a lot of the industry out, which will be going further. So I've got no freight connected at the moment, and this is very much still a work in progress. The old container terminal was there. For instance, a few of those other buildings will be going as well. One thing that I've tried to do is to make it so it'll be double track, double light colour light signalling under the New South Wales system, so there'll be more capacity for more trains, double track throughout at the absolute minimum. More depots around the place for the various companies, and more freight as well. So we'll get into it, and I will show you what I've done basically by repeating what I've just done. So what I might have to do, I had to do this before, go into surveyor mode. I found is the easiest way to do this, and rotate the whole consist so the At the front will be the one with the headlights, etc. on, so I can just get in edit details. Headlights on, ditch lights on, train crew on. And it's driver Jessica driving. So what we will do, we will unpause. Well, first of all, we will save, and then we'll go back to driver mode. Haven't done basically any work on this today so far. I'll be doing that off camera after this episode. So just trying to work out, that's not a bad little shot to start with. Alright, let's go back into driver's mode. We'll get Jess to rock and or roll. We'll send her exactly where we sent the other train. We will we will navigate to some of the station names have changed because I've changed their names. Ellie River, we should have. We should have Hexham. What I might have to do, I might just have to go back into surveyor mode for a moment. Find Hexham. I maybe need to add whoops, don't want to do that. I haven't worked out to rename this platform to. What I might do is go back to there. There's still some signaling things and whatnot that I'm still learning. So if we go to the collator, which is past there, but I'll stop the episode here. Focus on that. Make sure that I have my camera correct. Pause. Unpause. Oh, maybe because I haven't got the track set to there. I'm not at Wobber. I don't think all my stations are there yet. We'll navigate to Greeter, platform 1. That hopefully will work. Oh, now it decides that it wants to go to the collator. Alrighty, let's go straight into line side. So to let you know what isn't working and what I haven't done. Apart from this section and over bridges, there is only one track so far between Hexham. Might have to make some adjustments to these cameras. Between Hexham and Donnybrook, I've only got the one track open at the moment. This is the first time that I'm actually running a train through with some of these cameras. What I've basically done, double light colour light signalling, which will allow more trains, especially once I put the extra track in. Some of the cameras may still be the ones from the original map. What I've done a lot of flattening out in the corridor. A lot of flattening out in the corridor. A lot of the level crossings aren't working yet. A lot of the bridges at the moment are fairly basic. There still may be the occasional section like that one that I may have to smooth out. The rivers are a lot deeper, so they don't necessarily look like creeks. They look like rivers. Level crossing's not working. A lot of the passive level crossings I've actually removed for the moment and done a lot of flattening out. I'll have to re-fence the corridor too at some point. But a lot of it, as I said, I'm still learning. The signalling's actually been pretty good. While I've had no trains there and I've been in surveyor's mode, I have I've been zooming ahead, and then it goes, oh, there's a red signal coming up, which to me probably means that there's a broken track connection. So all the bridges at the moment, the rail bridges are basically the same. Have done a lot of smoothing out. This is the first time that I've run a train since the last episode. Basically smoothed out the rail corridor to basically level. There are some sections at the new Hexham, for instance, where the ground elevation for the station was something like 47 meters, and now it's basically 0. But I want to build up the areas around it, but that's very much a job in progress. For camera positions, at the moment, I've tried to put them at stations, at bridges, and at signals, and that's pretty much it for the moment. I have tried to leave the roads alone at the moment, even though there's probably some work that I need to do on them, but that's not a job for me right now. I'm more focused on the actual corridor for the moment. One big notice that you'll notice in this section are that the rails are laid directly into the ground. A couple of these cameras I might have to tilt up a bit. I haven't got speed limits working yet, and I haven't properly figured out junctions. I have inserted some new stations. This is a classic example of one, and also a classic example of a level crossing that's not working at the moment, because I've basically taken all the equipment out, with the exception of the boom gates. I have to put that all back in at a later stage when I watch a YouTube video and see how to do that. I've done a lot of leveling and a lot of track straightening. There still may be some sections where there may be two cameras that are too close to each other. Cameras, again, work in progress. But overall, I'm quite happy. Let's just change the point of view on the chase cam for now. Big change that's basically directly laid onto the ground now using concrete sleepers rather than big embankments that are big embankments with ballast either side and a big ballast bed providing the elevation. I've got no idea how long this would take. This would probably take years in reality. Like if we're working on it like a 20 kilometre section and we're doing things like putting new track in, straightening, yeah, that camera needs to go up. And a lot of it was trial and error. It's like, okay, can I get the track to go this way? Does it look good this way? There's areas that are coming up that I've done a complete deviation because I wanted to avoid the tunnel. Then I learnt how to eliminate the tunnel. And so I've got 2 different routes now. There's a lot more stations on the route because I like running passenger services as well as the freight. The signalling seems to be working well so far. As I said, I haven't figured out junctions yet, so junctions are a bit of a work in progress, and getting the signalling to show like the turnout indication that we saw on the previous half of the episode. I have removed a lot of the trees. Because of the change of the elevations for the moment, there's still going to be some cameras like that. I need to change that camera. Definitely some cameras that I'm going to have to change, but again, work in progress. The thing that I'm most happy with now is how the track looks and how much better it will look with the second track, and then be able to run the additional services will be cool. There's only been a couple of small times where I'm like, well, gee, I could smooth that out a bit more, but that will also come with the second track. And what the second track will also do, it'll provide me another opportunity to smooth it out. But a lot of the corridor I've already smoothed out now, knowing that I'm going to be building a second track soon. I'd like to actually know, is it possible, and I'll do a search while I'm looking at it. Trainz 22, disable, roaming, if I could spell camera, that'd be awesome. So another station we've just passed. This really sums it up for me. I'm new to Trainz and trying to figure out the controls. This used to be Lambley. I think I've called it YE now, and there's 2 platforms. And this is the first station to feature overhead bridges. Some of the areas, there's one coming up where I've actually put a different road bridge in to accommodate the additional track better. I still need to figure out where that camera is. Some of the things, by the way, as you can see here, that's leading off to the Lambley paper mill, etc. I haven't leveled that yet. Again, work in progress. This is another new station. I've now decided to call it a wobber with an additional platform in. Did start its career on trains known as Urquites, and then it was called Roller Robber. So I've flattened and widened the corridor. I'll refit when I'm happy with how the corridor looks. I'll refence it. And like this bridge, this newer bridge I've put in, I haven't connected a road to it yet. Might actually have to reduce the height of that bridge, and then just put a road over the top. But overall, I'm quite happy with how the track's looking compared to some of the previous episodes. There's no other trains operating on the map at the moment. Yeah, you're gonna have to find that camera too. That may look better once I've actually flattened that section of that section outside the corridor. There's only the very occasional dip now. The straights are a lot better. Now, when I say that the straights are a lot better or the track's a lot smoother, I'm comparing it to some of the earlier changes that I did. That you've seen on previous episodes rather than the original map. I have learned a little bit about how to put those sound effects in as well, which is cool. Because the track's flatter, I should be able to have higher speed limits too. I think, I could be wrong, the default speed limit seems to be 65 kilometers an hour. That seems to be the default at this point. All the signals are double light automatics, or permissive signals at the moment, basically because I've got no junctions to speak of. When I put junctions in, I'll alter those signals that need to be controlled or absolute. And once I put both tracks in, I'll also put speed boards back in. But massive improvement compared to my original efforts. Some of the cameras I have placed up high to get shots like this. There have been some elements like that set of stairs over there. It's been very difficult to remove. Some of the trees are at the wrong height. When I plant more trees, I actually want to make them Australian trees. You can just see how wide the corridor is. I need to know how to make the hills look a bit more realistic. Oh, this is the new section that I'm coming on to, where if we go around to the left, it diverts it into the tunnel. but we're going around towards our riverside section that I added between here and Haley River. To avoid the tunnel. So that just gives me another route. I originally, where you can see the height of the surrounding scenery, that's the height that I was running Trainz previously. And now we're basically back to river level. We can start to see the river that I've widened and make deeper on the... that's a good shot, Tascott. Yeah, might have to straighten that bit out, except we're coming up to Wonderbone, which is really close to the water here, which is the way I've designed it. Might need to drop the speed between Tascott and Wonderbone. That's Wonderbone. That's basically the new standard of platform that I'm, and then I need to get everything lined up perfectly, which isn't easy. So that was Wonderbone. Wonderbone in real life is actually a very short one. You can basically fit one door of one carriage, and only one door of that one carriage. Need to flatten that out. So that's basically the width of the doorway is pretty much it at Wonderbone, and there's only one way in and one way out, unless we want to talk about helicopters. Need to fix that. This is the bridge coming into Haley River. Need to make that a little bit more straight if I can to join up to here. That's another turnout that I've worked on. That speed's probably too high. 2 platforms now at Haley River. So there's a bit of smoothing out to go through Haley River. The level crossing is just permanently on there for the moment until I fix it. Over the widened Haley River. Overall, the curves aren't too bad, but the curve from the bridge over the river to into Haley River itself needs to be fixed. Sometimes you think you can visualize how a train would look going over it, and then you actually do see a train running over it. I think I'm going to have to do things like setting up platform limits so the system will know that the stations are actually there on the maps. It's another thing for me to look into. Oh, that curves a bit. How you doing there? I found a container ship. That's cool. I think it's a container ship. Some of the landmarks I've tried to keep where they are, so it sort of reminds me of where I actually am on the map compared to the original map. that's cool. I may be able to make the bridges look a bit different, maybe. Some of the ground textures I do want to change at a later stage, but I'll probably wait till I get both tracks in before I do that. Need to learn a bit more about ground textures and see what I think's realistic as well. But this is a really good brain exercise as well. It's like, okay, what problems have I got? And all this started was, and how this all started was, oh, I don't like this. I don't like the semaphore signals at Halley River. All right, why are we slowing up? Now, this could be a section that I haven't joined back up, maybe? Question mark? I will show you a bit of work in progress too in relation to the XPT depot that I was talking about on the last episode. And I've also started to build another container terminal. I'll show you that at the end of the episode as well. There are some dirt tracks that appear to lead nowhere at the moment, just randomly seem to get cut off. We could be coming into... Oh, this is coming into Greeter, I think. I'm pretty sure I kept the camera angle on the platform so you see the dog. Alright. I think I need to investigate about why we have stopped. Oh, I think we only said we were going to, I think we only said we were going, yeah, navigate to, while we're here, we'll show you, yep, there's the dog. Whoops. Wait, there's a doggy. Did I get rid of that camera or is it still there? No, I need to add that camera back. So we'll go into surveyor mode for the map. Oh, there it is. So I can go into, I can select, I'm hoping, select that camera. Reposition camera view. Well, it's not going to see the dog from there. Alright, so hopefully we've adjusted that camera. So I need to save that again because I did make a couple of changes. So now if we go back into onside mode, why is it facing that way, not the dog? Maybe if we go back a little bit, oops, go back a little bit. Line side is camera 3. Then we'll give just new instructions, which will navigate to maybe it can't navigate to there because I've cut off the track. Waiting, I don't want it to... Oh, I know what I'll do. Scrub that instruction. We'll change the instruction to drive. There we go. Alright, we'll pause that. We'll go into surveyor mode. Where are we? Trying to check this camera out. So that camera needs to be moved down there and rotated, I think 90 degrees or 180. No, 90. No, it doesn't. The degrees, by the way, don't work the way that you think it would. So sometimes it's just a bit of trial and error to so if we reposition, it's right. Okay, cool. So we'll save that again. It's not at work, I'm putting in from me. Alright, back to driver's mode. So what I'm going to have to do we'll just stop the train there. Then we'll go back into automatic mode and just tell it to drive. Oh, hang on, stop. I want to change the camera into Ironside. It's still facing that way. Why is it still facing that way? Now it's facing the ground. Sometimes it's just a bit of trial and error until you can actually see. And sometimes it's just a case of putting in random numbers until you see the camera. Let's raise it off the platform a little bit. Whoops, why did I do that? Oh, we've derailed. How do we do that and I was stopped? It's gone back into roaming mode, which is stupid. Why is that? Stupid roaming mode. So I want to get rid of the station moved. Which has really stuffed me up here. Because I can see... Oh, I have no idea what has happened here. We can see that the station's moved in relation to where the station signs and the camera stayed, etc. We need to move that telegraph pole. We'll move the... As you've seen on previous episodes, it can be very... Moving stuff can be very finicky. You can do things that you weren't intending to do, and that changes everything. So that works out to be pretty much there. We'll get rid of that. Go back into fly mode. Actually, we'll move. Don't know if we can move Doggy by himself, or if it's just, or is a thing on this. But if I need to move this camera, and stop it pointing at the ground, so what we might be able to do, and it's a bit, the track needs a bit of adjustment there. There we go. There's going to be the occasional thing like that where it might need just a little bit of adjustment. What we may be able to do is run that as a... We'll save this. And while I'm here, before we drive that train again, find out why this signal's at stop. Alright, let's see, why is this signal at stop? The liner's head is unsignalled, so that would mean that there's some sort of break in the rail, possibly. And there it is. So we can get rid of that section. I can go back to my track, select the track. And just join it up quickly. Now that appears to be okay now. So if we go back to this signal, the green line's telling me that anyway. That's now clear. We will save again. Now we should be able to go back to driver's mode. The line ahead is clear, that's good. Okay, that's got somebody in the front, that's good. And we'll exit. Manual control, I don't want that. So we'll go line side. Now, is that going to show me the doggy now? I can hear the dog. The dog's probably right behind the camera. Oh, the door's opened. We'll go into, hang on, we need to stop that train. Go into surveyor's mode because this is annoying me because I think that I've got it set up correctly and then I find that it's not, and it's annoying me. I need to go back to the fire camera for a moment. Need to sort out this camera. Again, it's pointing the wrong... Hang on, let's just get rid of that camera for a second. No, I don't want to do that because I'll derail the train again. Yep. The magic of undo. Until things are right. Oh, let's move the signal too, so I'm going to want to fix that, knowing me. So if I point the arrow on the left-hand railhead, that gives us a bit more room to space the signal out. Right, let's have a look. So this is a little bit behind the scenes as well. Camera. Trackside. Yeah, that. I hate roaming camera. I'm gonna have to point or lower. I said lower the camera, not go into. There we go. Trackside camera. So I want to lower it to maybe 2.5 meters. That should give me a better shot. So in the meantime, I want to delete the other camera, but that may be a job for later. Save again. Alright. Back into driver's mode. Unpause. No train selected. We'll assign you to a train. So we did see how a red signal can show us faults. Alright, trackside camera or line side camera. We'll do that. We'll give you the drive command. Oh, so the first camera is going to do what I want it to do now. We'll go back to fly mode. Get rid of that second camera now, or now that the train's not there, we'll get rid of that camera. We'll move the station back. Alright. Back into driver's mode. Unpause. Stop the train. Let's go inside. Maybe adjusting this camera slightly so it's a little bit more raised. So alright. We'll go back into Fire Mode just so I can adjust this camera. Position 4 meters, maybe 5. Alright, has that affected the... No, there's no level crossing at that end. Sometimes this is just what it is. It's like, oh, some little thing, and in this case happens to be a dog. But in some cases, we'll go back to driver's mode now. Unpause. Send old mate back a bit. Go back into line side camera. Alright. Have to raise that camera just a little bit more. Fly camera. Hang on, let's... Let's make it 6 meters. Having the station sign in that location is actually, and not having it as part of the whole station moving is actually quite a good indication of where the platform should be. Back to driver's mode. Hopefully this will be the last time. Alright, we'll stop the train. Go back to the on-side camera that I'm interested in. This may also change when I change the underneath of the platform. Alright, let's bring that train back to us. Yeah, we need to adjust that camera again. Realistically, nothing's probably going to change until I actually change the platform. I'm hoping that's good. $35, and this is partly why it's an episode of Workshop Wednesday as well. Alright, let's go back into driver's mode. Unpause. Sounds like I am directing a hockey game. Unpause. Roll train backwards. Camera platform activated. Train out of sight, please. Train out of sight. Okay, train out of sight, thank you. Back to onside. Give driver directions to drive train. Drive train. Camera 3. Take camera 3. Okay, that's camera 3. Prep camera 3 station. Camera 3 station. Oh, that's good. There's the dog. There's the train. There's the platform. Beautiful shot. So we got our new section of track. Why are we slowing down? Are we still in manual control? We shouldn't be. We should be driving. Alright, I need to straighten that section of track, but that's something for when I put the second track in. So we're back in the groove. I wanted to get that sorted out while I was thinking about it, because otherwise I would have forgot. So now we're just running the Moree the Moree portion after we derailed the Armadale portion accidentally. That's a new bridge, better design for double track. Actually, yeah, while we're here, we might as well, now that we've got the different Yeah, we'll reposition the chase camera to maybe that side. Yep, that's good. Keep the chase camera there. Hold chase cam, go line side. There's another extended section of river that's deeper and wider. Doesn't look like a creek, more looks like a river. Are we coming into now what I'm calling Adamstown? That's the question. Why are we slowing, and why does it say we're under manual control? Change camera mode. No, I don't want to be in manual. Drive. Alright, you can get off the train. We'll put you back on. And let's drive. There we go. Hopefully we're okay now that green line's come up. Why are we idle? You know what? We don't appear to be driving, was I? Some stations I've put in... Oh, hang on, that signal's at stop. Why are we at stop? Why are we at stop? That's a very good question. Might not be Waz's fault at all. So we can click on it and we can go edit details. The line ahead is unsignaled. Okay, so I need to look again for... I've got to add a platform there. That's going to be Lochinvar. So this section here, that will probably help. I have to install the platform there at a later stage anyway. Maybe that wasn't the problem. We are going to put a platform in here. Now what can happen is you move one section of track and it becomes... Oh, gee, that's... needs some work done to it. Oh, we're coming into Adamstown. So that signals at stop. That needs to be fixed. So maybe if we put a signal in, go back to the station. Oh, that bit of track there is certainly not helping. Hang on, we won't worry about the signal at this point. So that section there. Once I get all this fixed, it's going to be awesome. But there are some teething problems when you've got different elevations of track and then things happen, and we'll go back and put a... So that should have hopefully fixed the issue that we were having. So sorry, was I? We want signals, and I realise that some of the dialogue screens that I'm referring to, you can't actually see. Target layer invalid. Why won't it let me put a signal there? Or there? Alright, so what have we... Is that broken? I think that section's broken. I wish there was some sort of tool, and maybe there is that I haven't looked into, a section that goes, your track's not straight, your track's not connected. Do you wish to do something about this, Y/N? And now my track's moved in relation to the station. Oh, don't do this to me. That's what happens when you work with spines that are too big. Insert here. So I should be able to move that over with minimal problem now, I'm hoping, and move this end . You get one end right, and then the other end is just totally screwed. That looks to be better. Let's settle that back on the ground. So that's that. add a signal if we can here. Oh, is it that section of track that's... and then that mucks your bridge up. That looks to be better. Go down and see the last signal, which is still at stop. Alright, let's save this 1638. Go back into driver's mode, unpause, focus on driver. That's still showing at stop. I'm just going to go into manual mode and we'll see what the problem is. So I've role played here that it's been some sort of track failure. No way was this supposed to be a 2-hour episode. Alright, that signal's clear. Oh no, that's where the derailment is. That's where the derailment is. And there didn't look to be anything wrong with that section of track. So insert spine there. Insert spine there. 1, 2. Go back to track. Snaps into place there, or does it? You think it snaps into place, but sometimes you're not really sure. Doesn't even look right, does it? Alright, get rid of that whole section, including that pit. Whoops. Because it looks to snap into place. Oh, we'll run the Thunderbirds. Target layer invalid. Oh, come on. I want to just be able to put the Thunderbirds in. You mean no? Alright, let's reverse the rotate the consist. So it'll at least go in the direction I want it to. Save again. The signals are looking promising, although we had to move back a fair way to put the train back into driver's mode, unpause. Need to select a driver. Alright, back to line side camera when we can. So we'll see how we go. These two locos, even though they're the same loco number because of the graphic, one's supposed to be 4819 and the other's 4827. They've been nicknamed the Thunderbirds because they go around and they do rescue missions for the XBT fleet. And so we're simulating one here where a carriage needs to be towed from one location to the other. Let's see how we're going to go through. We haven't got much road. So we're coming into what I'm now calling Adamstown. So there's going to be a loco depot area for the SSR trains here at Adamstown. I named it Adamstown again because Adamstown is a short platform and there's a level crossing near the station, which is exactly what happens in the real Adamstown. So there's part of the SSR depot. Haven't finished that yet. It's a work in progress. Haven't really touched the town yet. Do I need to fly forward and see? I might fly forward. See where the problem could possibly be. I'm guessing there. I might leave that for now. I do want to just fly through the rest of this section. I want to put another train here just for the moment, just so I can. Let's do that. Why is it not letting me put locos anywhere? Oh, that doesn't look good. That's a change in height. So that height is 1.34. That height is 1 meter. So probably easier for me to change that to 1 meter. So I thought. No, that's a job. It's a job for future me. I don't like all these extra beeps I'm getting. I'll just fire. I won't save this bit. So we go around here. Oh, there's a problem too. Alright, so we can fix both of these problems at the same time. So what I can do, we can make that a height of 1 meter, set the height for a meter, so smooth that out. That's what can happen with changes of height elevation as well. Alright, so if we go now back to tracks. And just keep on going forward until we hit the next section. No, that's not going to be any good. Don't want to put a junction there. Insert spline, get rid of that, hook that section up. Which is probably how we got into that problem in the first place. Now that looks like it's joined better. Now that's showing 1.7. So we'll just level this out slightly. Alright. So hopefully that's another problem that we've found, and until this will probably happen for a bit longer realistically until I get the second track in. Then once I get the second track in and tested and it's okay, so where can I put trains in then if it's not, or do I not put them in? No, I don't want to put in a track. I want to put in a train. So while we're here, we need to just level that bit. And I need to straighten, not have that on so much of a curve when I leave there. So we go back to track. No, I didn't want to do that, because it's connected to the one that's there for the level crossing, which shouldn't be there anyway. And I didn't want it to do that. And I don't want that section there. And I don't want that junction there. And I don't want that section of track there. So we'll straighten that spine. Straighten that spine. So now hopefully and I say hopefully because I don't want to say, oh yeah, it's definitely going to happen, and then something happens and it doesn't. Alright, let's go drive mode. Pause. Alright, Thunderbirds are go. That's not perfect, but it'll do for the moment. Alright, so what I'll do when we get to this red signal, which is coming up, that's it there. We'll go for a fly, and we'll see if we can find, and this is one of the advantages of doing it with a train. There it is. That's one of the advantages of doing this with a train rather than just relying on the Mark 1 eyeball. Get rid of that section, that section. Oops. Actually, I want to insert the track rather than, because that seemed to click onto there. That seemed to click onto there. Driver's mode. Paused. Yeah, I can if not. Was I? Okay, that signal's clear. That's a good sign. We'll have to fix that section up a track, but we've just built it. And this is promising. Might just fix the chase camera up now. Oh, there's another section of track I'm definitely going to have to fix. Which will come when we put the second track in. So it looks like I've got clear signals all the way now. So a tiny bit of work to be done in that section, which can be done when I put the second track in. That looks good. Once I get the second track in, I can adjust the landscape. Really has been Thunderbirds to the rescue. Not that I remember that when I finally get around to editing this episode and uploading it. Thunderbirds to the rescue. I don't know which one's which though. Which one is actually Thunderbird 1 and which one's actually Thunderbird 2? What the guys at the XVT depot need to do, they actually have been renaming some of the XVT power cars for drivers who have recently retired, and they give the power car that they were last driving their nickname. And it's like a temporary thing. But on the side of the two Thunderbirds, they should name which one's Thunderbird 1 and which one is Thunderbird 2. Actually, what I should do, pause. I'm just going to take a screen cap for reasons. Where are we? Alright, let's unpause that. Let's get the Thunderbirds back underway. Be cool if I get an answer before the episode. Where are we? Line side. There we go. Alright, I need to pause here because we have arrived. We have arrived at what I'm now calling Hexham. Let's just adjust that. Alright. I'll just change cameras. So this is Hexham. It has changed a lot. I have changed the building. I've made the platform not as big, not as long, straighter. On the far side, you can see a whole heap of buildings that I've put together. So that's going to be the business side. Down here, the cars aren't there, but this is the, what I'm going to call, just for the sake of it, the Endeavour sidings, where the Endeavour rail cars will be. Used to be different levels. This side, I'm going to make it the residential side of Hexham. A bit of a work in progress. There's another look at the Endeavour sidings. I'm going to put a bridge over from the main street over to the station, over the Endeavour sidings. This is the main station entrance. Various Australian shops that have been modelled by others. So give it a bit different of a look and feel. The far end of the Endeavour sidings. And then if we zoom up here, to be pretty much, this is going to be the Horizon depot. This is going to be the Horizon depot. Just like the one in real life where the coal trains go through and whatnot. Bit of a work in progress in the town. That side's going to be residential. I have built up the mountains on that side. Now, while we're here and we're having a look at works in progress, We're going to go to the container terminal that I'm in the middle of building. And this is in the outskirts. This is in the outskirts of town. Let's just go back to flying. So this is basically one. It's not linked up to anything yet, but we've got a Pacific National, or in some ways a national rail train, because that's the original colour scheme in the logo of the middle NR loco, which I think is 27. Yeah, 27. Next to it, the white one is actually NR1, as it came out of the workshop in grey when it was doing its trials as the first class of the NR, as the first logo of the NR class. Haven't loaded any containers on it. I'm in the process of putting more containers here, like I have here. There's another train in the terminal as well. Now I can flatten this land out behind more, because there's lots of room out here. It's just vacant land just across from the XPT depot. So there's a cube train. A couple of the locos don't have the cube logo on there for some reason, but that's in progress. Now what I might do, now that I am actually in, we'll go to surveyor mode, and the one that I was looking for before, multiple industry new. Well, that didn't do much. That's just a single line. You have to do more research into that. Not even going to bother to save that. But that's where we are at the moment in relation to that. I'm gonna build this up, make it into a container terminal, and as I said, there's plenty of room out here, so I can do it without trying to squeeze it into another site. Now across the way is the in progress passenger train depots. I've actually removed. Oh, hang on, no, that's not them. I put them there for another reason. As you can see, there's not a lot out here at the moment. Oh, there's on the other side of that, raised section. So I've lowered most of this section as well. This is the XPT, or the passenger train depots that I was building on a previous episode. So lots of work to do. Still have to join it up to the main line. Still have to get all the roads in order. But that is a work in progress. I did lower the entire area so I don't have to do major changes in elevation. And as I said earlier, I'm still trying to figure out junctions and whatnot. I've eliminated the tunnel portal because that just indicates like the end of the map. But there is the depot. Work in progress still, lots of track and etc. to add. So I'll just fly back over to the container depot to show you the relationship basically behind this hill, which is quite easy to actually get rid of while we're here in we're in driver's mode. Surveyor mode. How high is this track? 2.15 meters. So if I change the height to 2.15 meters on the height tool, and just like this, I can eliminate this mountain or this raised section, make it all the same height, and then later on I can adjust it, put more hills in. Once I've decided where everything will go, because I want to get rid of this mountain, because I do want to extend the container area. So there's the container terminal. That's pretty much the edge of the map as we know it. There's Life Gym, but not as we know it. So just instantly, if only it was this easy in real life, my computer fan, that reminds me, I got to check some settings which might not make the fan of the computer go off so badly. If only it was this easy in real life, I can just hill. What hill? I don't want a hill there. Or yes, I do want a hill there, and I'll add the hill. So if I make everything level at the moment, and this is what I was doing before, so that basically gives me enough room to continue that track down, because it's got to come past the passenger car depot anyway, the passenger depot, to get back to the main line. So that's a lot. Just get these little last bits so we can go to our track, and this is the last bit that I'll build on camera. So I can go to the track, I'm going to have to extend the slab that I put under the track there, which is fine. We can do that because it's still going to be part of the depot anyway. Still a little bit under there that I need, because when you see a bit of green underneath the slab, well, that means the slab's not perfectly level. Alright, so that's that. I'll go back down, and I'm using track tunnel to give it that concrete train too close. I might have to delete the train. So you just put the track in. I'm going to have to work out the height of this track, because I've got the slab underneath it. The height of that track is 0.98 meters. So if I change this to 0.98 meters, and then I can just move it across. That didn't work quite as I intended. Might be something I'll do off camera, but that gives you the idea. I've been Simulated Eck. You've been wonderful. Thanks for watching. Ta-ta. And farewell from what I'm going to call the Walla Robber Container Terminal. Bye for now.